my top 10 for Division I men's tennis goes as follows: Texas 1, Ohio State 2, Georgia 3, actually, TCU 4, Kentucky 5, South Carolina 6, Michigan 7, Virginia 8, Tennessee 9, Harvard 10. I will say TCU dropped because of that flat 2 loss to Texas, despite winning the doubles point. They laid down too easy in singles. I mean, granted, I know Sebastian Gorsny's match in straight sets was close. I mean, one break apiece in both of those matches. And Luke Fomba lost a tight one in the third set, but every other loss in singles, not close in third sets. And the only one that showed up in singles was Sandra Jong. Everybody else, not even close in the third set. Now, the new rankings came out. I'm going to go 1 through 25 first. Texas, Ohio State, TCU, or Georgia, Kentucky, South Carolina, Michigan, Virginia, Tennessee, Harvard, USC as the University of Southern California, Duke, Columbia, North Carolina, Mississippi State, Arizona, Stanford, Florida State, Utah, Wake Forest, Texas A&M, Auburn, NC State, Florida, and Illinois. Now, 26 through 40 goes as follows: Northwestern and Middle Tennessee State, San Diego, Ole Miss as the University of Mississippi, Texas Tech, LSU, UCLA, Memphis, Oklahoma, Louisville, Pepperdine, VCU, USCB, and Cornell. But I'm going to go over like the last four in / the last four byes to the next first four out and the next four out. So right now the cut line would be at 47, but technically one of these teams shouldn't be even be in. Right now they would only be in because of ranking, and that's Arizona State, Miami, Florida, Alabama with the 11-14 record. The only way they're going to get in is winning the SEC tournament, in Oklahoma State. But I will say Oklahoma State's kind of in danger. If they don't win the first Big 12 match, they're definitely not going to get in. I mean, it's a 500 rule, first of all. And UCF they're 10-11. They're like the first four out right now. And even in the rankings and in the record too. But if they win a few matches and Alabama doesn't win the SEC tournament, let's just say Oklahoma State loses right away, and they get above 500 or at 500, they're going to get in. Definitely. Okay, none of the teams in the first four out are like Nebraska, Penn. SMU is 11-13, and yet, sure, the website says something else, but some of those wins are D2 wins. They don't count. So really, and SMU has to win their conference tournament and even make the NCAA tournament this year. And Princeton. So really, and after that it's just Tulsa who has to win their conference tournament, be in Wisconsin as well. So that's just maybe some teams in it. That's the cut line would be at 47 right now, but the last four byes would be Cornell, USCB, which they're technically a Big West Conference leader right now. Cornell, UTSA, Baylor. Yeah. Cornell, UTSA, and Baylor are at large bids. But I will say this, if UTSA loses right away, they're in danger, of course. Baylor has, I would say, win their first match against Oklahoma in a rematch, and they're definitely in. Of course, you got to win as many matches as you can if you're these bubble teams or next to the bubble as much as possible, and avoid bad losses. You can't lose right away, but it wouldn't hurt if other teams around you would lose besides you win. And as for Alabama and UCF, get above 500. But the only way Alabama's going to do it is to win the conference tournament. But that's improbable. It's probably not doable when you look at the SEC tournament, which I went over that today. And UCF, they don't have the conference tournament for the American out just yet because they have matches today, but they have to win at least two matches regardless just to even get in. Because what if, for example, Oklahoma State would lose and Alabama doesn't get out? They would be pushed in because of that. And Penn would technically get in too. As long as they have a high enough ranking, they could be close to getting in without even having to sweat. Because the deal is, if Alabama doesn't get in and Oklahoma State doesn't get in, those two teams, and despite being in the cut line at 47, they would be pushed up, I would think. We have to wait and see what happens. This is only one more week of this. Then the NCAA, granted, there's tournaments next week as well, some of those, but not all of those. So we're going to have to wait and see. Because then after that, most of the teams are going to be done. For the most part. I just know, like the bigger, for the bubble teams here, Penn doesn't have a conference tournament. They just have the Ivy League. That's it. So, and I know the SEC, ACC, Big 12, and all those other tournaments are going to happen this week. Not West Coast Conference. That's just naming some examples that are not this week, as well as a Sun Belt for the women's side, but Mountain West. But not every conference tournament is this week. It's next. Some of those aren't even next week. So like the Pac-12. So that's just an FYI on that. So it's going to be interesting what happens here. If you like this content, hit like and subscribe, and see you guys later. 5 subscribers, we're on the road to it. Let's go.